everybody, and welcome back to Serenity Art Space. My name is Lou. In the past few days, I've done some work on the 3 paintings that I've been working on, 2 commission paintings and 1 in-between painting, something to keep me working in between while the other one's dry. So I want to show you some of the progress that I've made, some of the things that I did, and try to give you a few tips and tricks as far as how to get through a long process of something like an oil painting. So I took some of this linseed oil and I used it on these paintings that had dried. I took some pictures, shot a little bit of video. I wanted to show you what this stuff will do for you, why you can use it, and ultimately why I don't use it anymore. So we'll get into that a little bit. And I did get to use my maul stick, not my Darth Maul stick, but my normal maul stick. You can buy maul sticks from art supply stores or online. It's usually just a straight stick. It's got some kind of a soft ball on the end with the fabric wrapped around it so you can rest that on your canvas. I'm a weirdo, so I was out with my girlfriend out on the beach, found this really cool piece of driftwood floating in the ocean. And the thing I like about this is it's already got these cool little curves to it. So I'll hook it right up on my easel there. I can drop my hand here, and it's actually a lot more comfortable than using a straight stick, which I used to use. I think I used to use like a mop handle or something like that I tied a little vinyl on the end. I like this way better. Plus it looks cool. Kind of looks like Yoda's walking stick. So anyway, let's get on to the progress on the paintings that I've made. First one I'd like to show you is the bird that I've been working on, a little blue swallow. This is a classic tattoo design. It's an old sailor tattoo, but I've taken it and changed it into a different style. It's something I like to do. Same with the wind swirls. That comes from Japanese tattooing. They're usually very uniform and symmetrical. Black on one edge, really hard black, and then fading to a gray. I wanted to take them and do something different with them. So I take a little bit from what I do day to day, and I do something fun with it. With this painting, it had dried, and I wanted to get my background back into shape. So I took some of that linseed oil, brushed over it, so I could see the depth and the color again. And then I started taking some of this purple and a sap green, and blending those together gave me this really dark value up in here. It may look a bit black to you on there, but in actual life, and I'll try to get a better shot, you'll probably see it in the photos, it's got almost a bluish gray kind of tint to it. And so I started reinforcing some of these cloud swirls. I took a little bit of a zinc white up into here, and I wanted to highlight some of these swirls a little bit. The reason I used zinc white and not titanium white is zinc white is more of a mixing, blending white. It's a thinner, it's less opaque. Titanium white is going to be very strong, very bright, and it's going to show up a lot. You'll see that in the fairy painting when I show you that. So this one's ready for me to start getting into the bird and start bringing that forward. I want to try to keep this background a bit softer, less detailed, less sharp, so that when I do my bird, sharp and very saturated with lots of transitions in color from, say, like a dark blue to a mid to a light to white. That's going to give us contrast. The background has less of those gradations and the front has more. That's going to create a form of contrast that's going to separate these two things. And then the final thing will be the music notes that I add in. So this one is making me happy. This one hopefully should be done within a handful of days, depending on the time that I have to work on it. And in the fairy core painting, you can really see how that titanium white really pops out off the canvas. I use that at the very end. Of course, I used some of it to build this character up, but definitely I made sure that was my last thing. And then all these little sparkles and orbs that are floating around, I wanted to use that titanium white to make those really pop. But back here in this tree This is zinc white in here, and you can see how soft that white is compared to the titanium white that's on these edges. So know your paints. There's a lot to know about them. I honestly, I don't really use the numbers on the back. Usually on most paint tubes will tell you the light fastness, opacity, and all that. For me, it's trial and error. I know certain paints are going to be thicker or thinner, more opaque, less opaque. So over time, I've just kind of figured that out. If you really need to know, I could do a little bit of research and maybe try to find a chart for you that'll help. But it's also going to depend on the brand of paints that you're using. I believe each brand has different grades of light fastness and opacity. One of the things that I would like you to see on this is some of the contrast where the tree in the front plus this other one here, they both have a bit more detail, and also these flowers down here. They're a bit sharper, more detail, but when you get way into the background there, things get very kind of muddled and basic, and that's a form of contrast and depth, something you can create in your paintings to make it seem deeper, make it really seem like a scene that you're actually observing in real life. So a couple of things that you can do and mess around with how detailed something is, and then the amount of transitions of color and detail into them. With this painting, I did use the linseed oil. You can see it still kind of shiny, a little bit wet up in there. So when I use the linseed oil on this, you can definitely see a big difference, especially in the scales, the depth that it created, and that was still just kind of my rough underlay of the scale texture. But the linseed oil definitely brought it up. The one thing I didn't like about using the linseed oil is it was hard for me to get my smooth kind of powdery blends going as the paint was too wet. So in the future, I probably won't use linseed oil anymore to bring up my paintings. I like them to be kind of that flat color. It forces me to create more depth with my paint rather than allowing the shine to create that depth for me. So once I get my paintings done, they already look really deep, and then when I put that varnish over it, it just multiplies that, and it makes me really happy to see that come out. So hopefully this one in about maybe 2 days or so should be done, again depending on how much time I have to work on it. So that's my video for today. Just wanted to show you some of that progress. I'm having great fun making these YouTube videos, and right now really I'm just kind of talking about things that I think you might want to hear about, things you might want to see. But if there's something specific, please let me know. Ranging anywhere from pen and ink illustrations, pencil drawings, any medium of painting. I've got experience in most, and I'm pretty skillful at a few. So drop it in there, and I think on my next video next week I may want to do something on digital art, since the COVID-19 lockdown looks like it's about to end. I'll be getting back to work soon, hopefully by early next week. And for that, I need to get some of my designs done for my tattoo clients. For that, I use my iPad and a program called Procreate. So I'll try to record some of that, show you some of the things that I do. Won't be everything because there's almost too much to cover in one video, but I'll do the best that I can in giving you at least an introduction to that and some of the cool tools that you can use in that program.